All right. Hello, hello. Let's get this train rolling. This is my first solo keyboard build on my own channel, which is pretty exciting. I've done the Fawn Awesome one previous to this. And up until now, I've just been streaming Playdate games on my own channel, so I'm excited to actually get this off the ground. Hoping to make it a weekly thing. We'll see. Because I am getting ready for a keyboard event in October that I'm hosting at my co-working space here in Western Michigan. And as part of that, I am more or less rebuilding all of my boards to some extent. And I figured rather than just doing that alone in my basement, why not stream it and hopefully have some fun conversations with folks and, maybe clue some more people into the wonderful world of keyboards. So this event that I'm doing, I've done a similar one a couple years ago for my co-working space. And it largely, rather than being like a run-of-the-mill keyboard meetup where people bring boards, it was more of, it's part of a series they do called an expert series. Expert loosely. It's basically people who have some knowledge and are passionate about something. So I kind of wanted to be able to be a keyboard resource to other people at my co-working space, since so much of the hobby is very subjective. There's a lot of components and terms and things you may never have encountered or don't necessarily understand. So trying to be a resource for those folks, so they could maybe figure out what types of things they like about keyboards, if they like them at all. So basically laying out my spread of boards and components and switch types and profiles and all that stuff, and so people could just test them out. So I'll be doing a similar thing like that again in October. If you're in West Michigan, feel free to come by. It's at the factory in Grand Rapids. As we get closer, I'm sure I'll publicize more about it. I don't love that song. I'm going to skip that. I might actually change the music channel here. So yeah, I've got a lot of plans about things to rebuild as we get closer. I've ordered a lot of custom plates for different things. So that'll be exciting. Hopefully get some sound signatures out of boards that I've had previously that I didn't necessarily enjoy. And give them a new lease on life rather than trying to sell them, at least for now. And then I can have them on display. But today, we are actually going to be building something that I have had sitting around in my closet for a couple years at this point. I don't actually remember when the Alexotos mode Envoy came out originally, because I didn't put the date in my spreadsheet of keyboards, but it's been a bit, and it has sat there in its case unbuilt. So we're going to build it today. We're going to have another Envoy option. I have two other Envoys that will have on display. One was the soldered only Polycarbonate early edition. And then another one was the Mirage colorway, which is kind of a dark bluish green that I have Dracula, I think, on currently. It's over there. It's behind all the switch bags over there. So probably rebuild that one as well at some point. But let's dive into the business at hand today. This, of course, is the Typeface universe, which I will never change. I say that. Whoops. Moved my desk mat. The beautiful new Fawn Awesome desk mat. But this still is one of my favorite boards, my favorite board configurations that I have currently. But let's dive in and see what we got. Ugh, there she blows. I had to rummage around quite a bit in my closet to find where I had stowed this. It was underneath a lot of other things, but should be in mint condition because I only have ever opened it and looked at it the one time. Because I already had two other Envoys, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. All right, so right off the bat, we'll get to that in a second. Tim, welcome. I'm getting my streaming reps in for when the event horizon comes. I'm getting ready. I'm working out the kinks. So first off, of course, PCB and plate. I believe the only option that this edition came with was the FR4. But I historically have not loved the sound of FR4. I've only tried it maybe 3 times, and each time I was like, eh. So I have gone ahead and ordered an extra plate for this, which is Palm, I believe. Which actually just came in yesterday. So we got our Palm plate, which is a lovely semi-translucent dusty gray, which I think will go well with the build I've got planned. And our PCB, which I'll toss over there. We got our components, screws and whatnot. We got our daughter board and the JST. And feet and lattice blocks. Whoa, the sun, there I have a little sliver of sunshine coming through my window and it's just like blinding. I have a makeshift shade up there right now. I almost didn't need to have my LED light on because of that. Oh, you're excited for the... Yeah, we're close. I've been loving watching all the progress. I'm very excited. I have my build planned. I've got an extra plate, which, I mean, might as well show that off. This is a different plate for a different build. And I didn't bring the XT column over, but I already have my my Ultim plate for the Event Horizon ready just to give it a try. I'm sure the aluminum is going to sound fantastic too, since that's how you designed it. But, you know, this material's available and I like it and I want to test it out. So we'll see how it goes. And I also have some plans for the Stellar, if and when that comes around. Some fully transparent ideas. Anyway, tangent. Back to the Envoy. We've got our little signed by Alex card. This is number... Ooh, that's sunshine. Number 33 of 250. It's been sitting pristine in its little home. There it is. This lovely beigeish stone. Let me get out of the sunshine a little bit. Beigeish stone colorway. You can see a little bit better there. Which is very nice. And of course, his signature orange for the weight and the accent piece. All right, let's get this big case out of the way. I have to say, I am up to my eyeballs in keyboard cases. I do appreciate when cases are included because it's a really nice add-on and nice to have, especially for, like me, if you are organizing a keyboard event where you will be taking like 20 to 30 keyboards. It is nice to have those carrying cases to kind of tote everything in, but they take up so much room. All right, let's get our ducks in a row here. Let's go ahead and open up the PCB. Might need to give it a little cut here. Carefully, carefully. The new Studio Neat Keen. Very nice. Little spring-loaded utility knife. Highly recommend. So PCB. See if we can get it out without breaking any sockets. It's always the challenge with these little bitty bags. Come on, baby. There it is. Yeah, I don't know why they don't make the bags bigger. I don't know if it had something to do with storage space or like the... Maybe there's more of a chance, because I know sometimes they have components in like anti-static stuff. Is there more of a risk of building up a static charge if it's bigger and it's like friction, if there's friction inside? I don't know. I don't know anything about manufacturing or anything. I just build the boards. You're always worried you break a piece off. Me too. I usually save breaking sockets off for when I'm like almost done with the build process and I push a switch the wrong way. I've only done a couple of times, thankfully. All right, let's go ahead and carefully get through this plastic on the weight. I might have been too careful. I don't know that I made that hole big enough. There we go. Now, most pictures that I had seen, especially when this board first came out, we were pairing it with Kaiju, which I think is a good idea because Kaiju's got some of that beige-ish influence going on. Of course, very prominent orange that goes well with this, but I think we're going to go a little bit different, which I had the idea to do, and then I talked to Cause about it on a different stream, and they mentioned that they had done that already and sent me a picture of it, and it looks great to go with Signet, KKB Signet. And so I feel vindicated in my plan to do that because it does look pretty good. Signet's a little bit darker, but it works out really well, I think, with the beige or the stone or whatever they call it in all the marketing for this one. All right, so carefully. Got it. There we go. All right, so we got our weight, we got our accent, and the feet will pop through the weight. Let's go back to the desk view. And the orange and the blue look so good together. This is actually very close to like Web Awesome Orange, if you're all familiar with our other product, our other awesome product, which is a fantastic web component framework. I don't actually have the Web Awesome desk mat, but I'd be curious to see how well those oranges go together. All right, let's get our screws sorted. Too little. We're going real orange today. Slightly brighter, but I also see that there's the screwdriver bits. There was not a screwdriver in here, but that's okay. I feel like the same thing happened recently when I built the Fawn Awesome Sonnet. The screwdriver was not in there either, just the bits. But, you know, we come prepared with our own tools. All right, these are for the daughter board, I think. So let's leave those out, actually. This must be standoff. That is the other thing. I actually have the build guide pulled up so I could remember what everything is. So the accent and weight kind of have these rounded buddies. And these are all daughter board. So I will only need 4 of those, so there's probably some extras. And these are for the hot swap standoffs. Sure, I'll just put them all together so I can keep the differences straight. Standoff. How's that music level, by the way? If you can hear it. I hope I did my settings right so the music will actually not end up in the VOD so I won't get copyright strikes. But hopefully the music. You can barely hear it? Okay. We'll turn that up. My monitoring is not 100% in these bad boys, so it's hard to tell the levels. Sweet. Good to know. Thank you. All right, and these are the little security buddies so that the whole assembly doesn't fall out of the case. Which has been a while since it's been a hot minute since I've built an Envoy. And I think the general wisdom I had seen was to not tighten those in all the way. Because that can actually negatively affect the sound. But we'll see. Because we're going to use some Alex Obscuras And I also haven't used Obscuras in a hot minute, so we'll see how it all sounds together. If not, I've got some other switches in the wings that we could sub in if we really want to. Okay. Let's get cooking. I feel like I've been cooking with this heat wave. Thankfully, it's cooled down slightly from where I was the other day. My partner was doing she's a ceramic artist, and she was doing a show that was outside, and it was roasting. Wouldn't be surprised if some of the other folks there got heat stroke. It was real rough, but we have cooled down a little bit, which is good. Go ahead and move my mouse further away. Don't need that so close. Okay, daughter board. Oh, I think it actually goes down inside. Like that. Let's see. I don't know Florian Gadsby. Who is that? Or maybe I know them by a different name. What is the right bit for this? Too small. There we go. Oh, I need to actually plug in this JST first, or I will regret it. I believe these are both the same. Thank you. I'll take a look at that. Let me go ahead and click on that. And ceramics. I figured. Oh, I think I may have seen some of his stuff on Instagram before. His face looks very familiar. I'll keep that pulled up, though, for later. All right. There's the pins. There we go. All right. Just a little tight. Don't want to break anything on the daughter board. My screwdriver is not wanting to cooperate. Oh, that's why. That's a standoff. Standoff screw snuck into the daughter board screws. All right. Let's go ahead and do a little work on the back while we're here. Do some feet and install the weight. Probably will use the softer blocks, I imagine, as well. They're easy enough to swap out so we can see what we like. I have to say these little guys are so much nicer to mess with than the giant Sonnet feet. Which you can also accidentally stretch out if you're not careful. Which can get a bit hairy. There we go. Get rid of this little buddy. All right, and the feet. Just press through the weight. I can get them to actually fully cooperate. And this one little bit doesn't want to. There we go. It's a little bit shy. Didn't want to poke through. Then we'll see if. There we go. Lovely. I'll screw it in from this side. And that should be some of these rounded friends. Same bit. Thank you, mode. Keeping the screwdriver bit size the same. If I can actually get it in there. Or is it not? Oh no, I'm screwing into the wrong place. Or am I not? Hold on. Let me double check that I'm using the right ones. Otterboard, accent and weight. Yeah, it should be that. But that's not the right hole. My mistake. It should go in there. I'm not sure why it wasn't catching. Ah, there we go. Just didn't have the threads aligned quite right. That's an extra buddy. We'll put that up there. So Tim, if you're still here, whoa! How does it feel to almost be done with the event horizon? I know it's been a long road for you. Liberating, I bet. Looked like the GMK meetup was a real hoot, though. Like people had a really good time. I'm really excited to go to the US one in October. Oh yeah, you've got Stellar next. But at least, hopefully, like now, I mean, the process, I imagine, is a little bit more straightforward since you're not dealing with as many different finishes and coatings and stuff. I did watch Ian's video on the meetup, and he ended to mention something about maybe doing a couple different polycarbonate finishes, like polished versus more matte or something like that. It was phenomenal. You're gonna love the US meetup. Timothy and Ray would be there too. And so oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. Well, I've met Horatio before. I haven't gotten to meet Timothy, and it'd be awesome to see you again if you're there. I know it is pretty out of the way. Of course, from what it sounded like, though, I mean, the GMK meetup was in a small town as well, but Europe's transit is a much more robust infrastructure in terms of being able to get places. All right, so we got feet. We've got that. Oh, we still need to put in the accent. So this has quite a few screws on it, but I guess these are just extra holes, so it's only the 3 screws. Oh, that's fun. Rented a van, lots of fun. Yeah, it looked like they had some nice like shuttles and pickup spots available and all that. I am excited. I did manage to get into the Hotel Morgan itself for the Novel Keys meetup. This, I don't think my screwdriver is actually going to fit, so I might just use the bit. So I'll be staying at the same place where the meetup is, and so, whoops. I'm excited to not have to travel much in that regard. I don't know if it's sold out. Man, I'm really making a meal out of this. I booked a room the day the tickets went on sale, so I don't know if they have rooms. Either they may have rooms and they just may not have that same block, like the block discount code available. I don't know. Goodness sakes. I am not doing well with this accent. There's not a ton of clearance on the inside to get purchase. Woo! All right. Maybe we just need to angle it. But I know there's a decent amount of other hotel options that they had mentioned on the website, at least, that are some within walking distance, some within ride share distance, if that's more your jam. Goodness. The whole stream is going to be me trying to get these damn accent screws in. Oh. Don't fail. Ah, damn it. That is the one failing that I remember from my last time trying to build an Envoy. Is how impossible it was to get these little accent screws in. Ah. I swear that I've built keyboards before. I swear. Maybe we just need to go at it. At a different angle. There we go. Should have done that at the start. Just got to get gravity to work in my favor. Hello, first time chat. You are going to get banned. See ya. I had one of those on my last stream too. Which I had done like 6 Playdate streams up to that point and finally got a bot wanting me to buy followers. That means you've hit the big time, right? Actually, I never want to be a big time streamer. I think that would kill me. The pressure, the expectations, parasocial relationships. Plus you can't keep up with chat. Not to yuck anybody's yum for people who do enjoy that sort of mayhem, but not for me, I don't think. All right, now that that's actually in there, maybe I can do a little tightening here. There we go. It only took a half hour, but we got the screws in. Whee! All right. So I think we'll start off with the soft boys. Go ahead and put these in and then get started on the PCB. I can see a little bit of that sunshine coming through. Little makeshift curtain. Let's see. So, I believe wedge these buddies in. I haven't actually tried the hard blocks very much because I've enjoyed the soft ones quite a bit on other lattice boards that I've built. I really enjoyed them on the new Sonnet. Because until I built the Fawn Awesome one, actually they're not wanting to go into their homes super much here. Be so careful not to scratch. But the new lattice buddies on the latest Sonnet are very nice, I thought. But I usually end up wanting a softer typing experience, so I've generally gone with the green ones. There we go. Make sure they stay in their little homes. Let's change up the music. There we go. Something a little more upbeat. All right, let's get started on phase 2. And I think we'll put down a little covering under here just so we don't snag anything with our sockets. And let's go ahead and take off the standoff covers, which is a mistake I made when I was building that Fawn Awesome Sonnet of not using the standoffs. And because of the softness of everything, it started coming apart. Because like in my experience, I was using HMX switches with that. And in my experience, they can slide in to their sockets very easily, but that also means they can slide out very easily. They're not, in my experience of most of the HMX switches I've tried, they're not the snuggest in the world as far as like being super tight in the socket. So like pressing backspace and some of the stuff over here on the Sonnet was actually, because I was using top mount. And so it was pulling the plate and the PCB apart, and the switch wasn't really doing anything to help. And I had mistakenly thought that we wouldn't have to use the standoffs. But it worked well enough for the stream, and then I just went and rebuilt it later on my own to make it more solid. All right. I think... Does this come with foam? A foam pack? I don't think it did. That's fine. If it did, I probably would have used some PE foam on this, but I don't think it came with any. So we'll just go as is and get some stabilizers cooking. Should just set this here. Use some mode stabs. Which are some of my favorites. They've been very reliable for me. And I like them a lot. And they're always in stock. Unlike Swag Keys Knights, which have also been very good, but they've been increasingly hard to get a hold of. But I think Bowl got some in not that long ago, and I bought a bunch. Preemptively. Well, I've heard good things about Stupid Stabs too, but I have never tried them. And I also picked up some cherry clip-ins with Geon wires for O-ring boards, which I don't have any of right now, but I will have some. I got some on order that I'll need to build eventually. You know what I haven't had to build in a while is something that requires 1.2 millimeter stabs. I feel like there was a phase not that long ago where there were a lot of boards that both had flex cuts and had thinner PCBs for more flexibility. And I feel like that trend has died out, or maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. But I haven't had to keep track of my stabilizer thickness like I used to. Don't know why. If anyone has insight into that, it'd be interesting to learn what the deal is. All right, so this board does not do split backspace. I don't know if there's any mode boards that do. It's kind of a shame. But, so we'll need left shift, spacebar, enter, and backspace. And wires. Now I think we do have PCB options, don't we? Does anyone have an opinion? 6.25 versus 7 for the spacebar? I usually don't have a preference because my fingers and my muscle memory ends up being able to work with either typically. But, I mean, as you can see here, this is a 6.25, but because that's what I'm most used to as a Mac user, of having my mods be all the same width. But yeah, you always say 7U, but mods are easier to find. Exactly. Well, actually, I mean, that's a good question. Maybe let's take a quick peek at Signet and see what we have available to us when it comes to mods. I did take a peek at these the other day, and I had never used a Keycaps box tray before, And this system is wild with the little like push pin things that keep it all closed. I mean, it works. I'll give them credit for that. All right, what do we got? So it actually looks like, I mean, some of this is macro column, but I wonder if we might have more choices with a 1U. Oh, they copied it from 2 generations ago. Yeah, I wasn't used to this at all. Like, I remember the current GMK, of course, and then the one previous. Like, that's my only experience with GMK. I didn't know anything about that before. That's interesting. Oh, did they move away from this just because it's like they went for the biodegradable stuff rather than so much plastic? Makes sense. Let's go 7U then, because I see a lot of 1U options. And we'll see what we get. We'll see what happens in the next hour and a half. Set those back down there for now. Let's get to Lubin. So we'll do a 7U. Got a little schmutz on there. All right. Be gone, stabs. Don't need you anymore right now. So we'll do a little Krytox on the housings and then dielectric grease on the wires. Should have got another paper towel just for my hands, just in case. Grab. Whoa. My chair betrayed me. Almost fell down. Maybe we'll go to the old shoulder cam for this part. And hopefully this camera doesn't turn off this time. It overheated last time I streamed with it, but I changed some settings and also opened up a vent in the back. So, should hopefully be able to avoid that. But if it turns off, it turns off. And now I just forgot which way this goes. I've used these how many times? And every time it's like a new adventure. At my keyboard event in October that I'm going to be hosting, we'll also be building and raffling off. Well, raffling. People put their names in and we'll give away a classic TKL. That's my plan. But for that, I will definitely already have the stabilizers pre-lubed and ready to go before we start building. I did that last time. It saves a ton of time for both my sanity and everyone's patience who was actually at the event and wants to get to the fun part of putting on keycaps. So I'm not sure which classic TKL I'll go with. Maybe the Ghost one, because it's see-through and it's fun. And see-through electronics need to make a comeback, I think. Which is one of the reasons I'm excited for Stellar. I imagine with transparent PCB plate switches. I was also looking at, there's a DCS set that Signature Plastics makes that is also entirely transparent. Doesn't have legends, but I was like, oh, that would be very tempting to try on a Stellar with transparent everything and seeing if it would actually work. That's my idea anyway, but we'll see. We'll see if aesthetics trumps usability with not having any legends. wonder how that would be though if you were able to do double shot with 2 layers of transparent plastic. Would that work? I imagine it would. But again, I don't know anything about manufacturing. Yeah, totally. So you could like maybe you'd still see the outlines and everything of the other layer having been injected and the mold lines and all. But here, I'll tell you what it was. It is, oh, I can't remember how to get there because it's not like signatureplastics.com. Oh, there it is. It's DCS Clear. I'll just throw the link in. All right, this doesn't let me paste. It's DCS Clear. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. GMK and Creative can do that. I'd be worried about legibility though. Have some samples with similar colors and the legends kind of disappear. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's true. Like, there was that one kind of, I can't remember the name of it. It was kind of black and spacey, but kind of just speckly. That was kind of hard to see the legends on from what I saw. Which I did consider that one for the Event Horizon, but I didn't know if it being transparent would be able to see some of the edges more clearly or something. Be interesting to try. And speaking of Creative, I just ordered cap black on white today, or white on black, which I'm excited to try out. And I do want to try, I mean, I thought about doing yours and Cap Classic, but I do already have PBS Classic, and I don't know if I need 2 classics, but it is tempting. For sure. All right. We'll have this on hand just in case we need something additional. And give that a little wipe. Put that over here too. What is this song? I don't love it. There we go. And let's get to the grease. Give it a little dunk. Be careful not to overdo it. Though I haven't run into a major sluggish problem or anything. With using too much. There we go. Actually, hold on. What's going on here, little buddy? Check Discord for some really crappy photos. Are they samples you've done? What is happening with this stabilizer? It's not seating correctly. Ah, there we go. No? Yes? How was this happening on my very first one? Might have put this in backwards. I did. Again, how many of these have I done? And I still am screwing them up. I'll need to check each one of those as I go then. Glad I didn't have these same problems when I was building the Sonnet. I'll tell you that for free. But good to get the practice in. look at these crappy photos real quick that you sent me, Tim. Oh, wow, that does blend in a lot. Huh. Way more than I would have thought. Also nice classic TKL in the background. And those look like, are those yuzu caps? Very nice. I'm excited to get my yuzu color samples very soon. All right, so this one needs to flip around. Which I had mentioned on Playdate streams, for any of you who were there for Playdate streams over the past 6 weeks. But I am working toward, which I've started designing some of the caps and some of the general visual direction. But I am going to try to make a set of Playdate themed keycaps. The Playdate, if you're not familiar with it, I will show you, is a little handheld game console like this, with a little 1-bit black and white LCD screen, which is very fun. And I love it, and I love the company that makes it, Panic. And I have some yellow boards, and so I'm trying to make some keycaps for myself. But of course, you know, it's not going to be officially licensed or anything, so it'll just be for me. I'm not going to sell them. In case you're listening, Panic. I don't think you're litigious, but just to cover myself. So I went ahead and ordered a set of 9 keycaps from Yuzu to do a little color matching to both Playdate and some of the peripherals like the original purple case and the box art and stuff like that, which I think will be very fun. And then my plan is to put them onto the Pixel Space capsule, which I have from a while ago. I have the yellow one. And it already kind of has a gunmetal back, which is reminiscent of both the crank and the power button handle on the Playdate. It has the light strip, which can also be like the new game light on the Playdate. So it kind of works out. So I'll have to kind of thread that needle between color matching the Playdate and maybe whatever matches best with that board, because the yellows are different. Or maybe trying to find a happy medium. Hello, Shylocutus. Welcome. We are building a mode Envoy currently. And the most riveting portion of the build, the stabilizers. Let's move on to another song. Make sure that we got good coverage on the wires and we're not gonna gum anything up with too much. Yes, I saw that the mode sale is on now. I actually just got some extra parts. Well, I got an extra plate, I should say, for this build the other day. I should probably look to see if I do need other parts for any of my other stuff. I don't need any new boards from them for sure, because I already have 2 Sonnets, I have 3 Envoys, I have 2 TKLs. The loop was not something I was ever super interested in. I think it's a neat project. The design language of it just didn't speak to me as much, so I didn't get in on that. And I also haven't gotten an Encore, but I may, depending on what the new round of materials is going to be like that Matthew's working on now that he's joined the mode crew. Yeah, I do. And I know, like, I have one of the old sonnets and one of the new sonnets, and not all the parts are compatible with each other, so it might be worth looking into for me to see for sure. But I know they also say that they're planning on maintaining some sort of availability for parts going forward too, just so people aren't left high and dry, which I really respect. Because with so many boards being in a group buy system or other stuff, you know, not in stock things, if you don't get the extras you want at the time you order it, you're out of luck. So I appreciate them having that resource available. But I will double check to see if there's other things that I need before the sale ends. All right, hide that for a second. We'll have a drink. The old Fawn Awesome mug. All right, and let's install these bad boys. So we need to do a little unscrewing. I think these are Phillips, right? They are indeed. So this should probably do it. Probably should have unscrewed these first. And I wouldn't have risked getting them all greasy or something. Just go ahead and undo them all at once. Is there anything that you're looking to get from the mode sale, Alexotos? I can highly recommend the new Sonnet, which I hadn't built until recently. Built a Font Awesome Edition version, and it sounds really good. Built it on a PC plate with the soft blocks. I think I did plate and PE foam. It was very nice. And then DCS caps. DCS? DSS? DSS. We had this discussion when I actually built it and I couldn't remember the difference. But they're DSS. All right, 7U. So that would be this one right here. Come on, friend. You're not wanting to seat quite right, are you? Oh, it's kind of almost running into the hot swap socket, but I don't think it is. There we go. Still not wanting to sit 100, whoops, sit 100% flush. What is going on there? I think I might be hitting the hot swap socket, actually. Mode, how could you? I imagine if we screw it in, it'll be fine, though. Let's go ahead and do that just to be safe. Although I'm curious if... Oh yeah, never mind. All good. Crisis averted. Actually need a bigger Phillips head to fully engage. Nope. There we go. Looking good. Pop in left shift. And enter. And backspace. I do wish more boards offered split backspace. I get why you may not. I mean, you end up with more of a Swiss cheese thing going on with your PCBs, but I've come to prefer it personally as an option. It's what my fingers have gotten used to. Especially because I actually use my Typeface Universe the most these days. It'll probably be one of the 3 boards I take to the Novel Keys meetup in October, because I think the limit is 3. So I've been really trying to decide what 3 to take. Some of that, of course, will be determined by the rebuild extravaganza leading up to October. And all the things that I rebuild for my own event, which is happening the week after the Novel Keys meetup. And see if any of those take on new life and become a new favorite or something. I'm especially excited to try. I'm going to rebuild the Protozoa Foundation with a different plate and see how it is, because I loved the idea of the Protozoa Foundation, but I did not love the sound of the foundation, which I know that's all preference, but the aluminum plate was not my favorite. So I'm going to try a softer plate. I'm going to try some other stuff and see if we can shake up the sound signature a little bit and see if it becomes more my taste. Because I love it. I love the form factor and I love the design. Just didn't love the sound so much. If I recall, there also wasn't much room for foam or anything like that. So it couldn't alter it a ton outside of switches and stuff. Which could go a long way, because my tastes in switches have also changed since I originally built it. So, we'll see how that goes. All right. We got our stabs. And we can tune them later if we need to. I'm going to try the palm plate today and see how that sounds for us, as opposed to the FR4 that came with it. But I will hold on to this just in case. I think especially without any foam, since it didn't come with a foam kit, I'm probably going to want the softer plate just to absorb some sound. But we'll see. We shall see. Let's get our standoff screws. Let's see what bit we need for these. This will do. Also got a plate fork handy if I need it. But we'll just see. Let's see if standoffs will do the trick on their own. I'm having a real hard time lining up screws today. I mean, part of that is also trying to keep things visible on camera rather than contorting it or myself for highest visibility. Jeez Louise. Doesn't want to get in there. Let's try another one. Thankfully, I still have an hour left in case these screws take forever. There we go. Just needed to coax it a little bit. Have you done an EC build yet? I have not, but I'm very interested in Dynacaps after seeing some of that stuff that Garrett brought to the meetup. It's always been very interesting to me, and I've tried EC. I've tried an EC build or two, like just typing on it, but I've never actually torn down or built one up. But I'd love to. I would love to try. I might need a new screwdriver. This thing's really not... I mean, it was a super cheap buy when I got into keyboards. I mean, you can see like all the finishes coming off of this thing from not much handling. So it wasn't really the most robust thing to begin with. Have you done much EC stuff, Tim? I have some friends who are super into it, and I see a lot of them in different channels on servers I'm a part of, but just wrapped up a build with navies and it's fun. Dynacaps better quality since it's an integrated plate though, and the people behind it are so nice. Yeah, it looked like it was pretty good from what little I know of EC stuff, but I would need to do more research into that whole scene. Like, I don't even know what goes into, like, what terms there are, what goes into the components, like how it all operates. Yeah, they had all their prototypes with them. Sweet. Well, maybe there'll be I mean, I imagine if Garrett is at the October meetup that they'll bring all that stuff as well. So I'll look forward to trying it out there. Okay, we've got this far. Let's do switches. Or somewhere. Let me look. Got him. They were hiding in my giant wall of switches elsewhere. Go ahead and get these handy in case I need them. Plate fork, switch puller. A drop-in package sounds amazing. Also, do you see the shirt I'm wearing today, Tim? I didn't know you would be here, but I needed to represent. Alrighty. Crack this bad boy open. Here we go. These are the... Whoop. I'll switch to the Alexotos mode Obscuras that have been factory lubed with Krytox, and these are 58 gram Obscuras, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they're a little lighter weight than the stock version. Although I think they've gone through a couple of rounds, so I don't exactly know what the latest version of Obscuras are like. Because I've got my linear tastes have changed since those Obscuras originally came out, so I haven't used them in a while. They've kind of just been sitting in the cupboard. But let's go ahead and get some corners put in. Making sure to brace the hot swap socket so it doesn't pop out. I do like that with the darker, that really dark slate of the palm plate is nice. I have gone on a bit of a plate ordering spree for all these board rebuilds of like boards you can't get plates for anymore, or like materials that weren't originally offered. So I've got the extra Event Horizon plates. I've got a Pixel Space capsule plate. I've recently ordered a Artemis January plate to retry that out. What else? Foundation, of course. I also ordered a new plate for the Novel Keys Classic TKL, just in case they ever, which I brought up on stream to Mike a couple times, wondering if they would ever offer a new PCB with split backspace on it. So I went ahead and got a new Classic TKL plate that would support both split backspace and split right shift, just in case. And I got it in Ultim, in yellow Ultim so that I could use it in my Proto Yellow Classic TKL if that ever becomes a thing. I might throw it in there anyway, just because it would still work, and you'd be able to see it through the case, which would be pretty fun. Maybe I'll do that when I rebuild it with milky yellows, which I think would fit the aesthetic very well. Make sure everything's straight, and making sure we don't have any bent pins before we go into the plate. And this is soft enough, I think my hands can just keep it up. Don't think I need to bust out the plate fork for this one. Yeah, I think Signet's going to look pretty hot on this. I'm excited. Picked up Signet in the sale that just happened recently at Novel Keys, so my first Keycaps set. So I'm excited to give it a spin. They've been doing a lot of good work, as well as Keyrative, it seems like. Because they're the ones that produce PBS, aren't they? Because the dye sub on that, at least for Classic, was really good. And I've got Aperture Priority on the way as well, which I'm very excited about. Yep, I thought so. Aperture Priority is coming. Going to put that on the monospace, probably with KD200 switches. Keep the camera film theme rolling. And the yellows might look nice together. The switches are a little bit of a warmer yellow, but nobody's going to see the switches anyway. That'll just be for me. They're looking into some bleeding issues with Classic. Not a deal breaker, but something to improve in the future. Oh, really? I hadn't noticed anything on my set, but maybe I was fortunate. It's actually over there right now on the Classic 0413. All right, stepped caps always. And I can still never for the life of me remember, well, that's easy enough because you can tell that it's centered, but where to put where the mod switches go for which types of bottom row layout. I should just make myself a cheat sheet if I'm going to be streaming regularly, which I do want to try to do. I want to try to make this a weekly thing. I've gotten my builds planned out slowly but surely, which I discovered also recently. If you're in need of kind of a planning Kanban type system, that you can actually use Apple reminders. And it can be fairly robust. You can just make new list groupings and sort them, set them to a column view, and then you can like move stuff between it just like you would on Trello or any other sort of Kanban thing. And then it's already, if you're already an Apple user, it's integrated with OS. You can integrate it with notes. You can set due dates and times for everything. If you want to add subtasks. Surprisingly good. So I've started using that for planning keyboard streams and keeping track of components and what I need to get ready, what is ready, and all that kind of stuff. It's been pretty handy so far. So if you need something and you're already an Apple user and you don't want to shell out for another product or something, maybe give it a spin. This has not been sponsored by Apple, although they could. They have enough money. All right, fill in these other staggered columns here. So looking good. Everything's lining up pretty well so far. Haven't noticed any bowing or anything from the softer plate, which is always good. I think I only ever had one PCB that was bowed and I had to mess with. I think that was for the... Might have been for the June, actually, the Hebe June, which I was a little bit worried about because the case itself is already so soft. And I was like, it's not like I'm attaching it to a piece of aluminum. Like, this thing is silicon. It has threaded inserts in it, but it's just silicon. So it did end up lifting the sides a little bit. So I ended up switching that PCB with a different one. I think the one that came with my Salvation, because they're both use the same, like a standard 60%, I think, with like the integrated daughter board in the same place. So that worked out. All right, so for these, where do they go? I'm tempted to actually pull, granted I don't know if this layout is the same, but I was tempted to pull keycaps off of a different one and see. Maybe I'll do that. We're going to cheat. We're going to look at this other Envoy, which I really need to change. This has silent switches in it. And when I don't need to have silent switches, I don't like them. I really don't. Too mushy for me. Whew. Dusty. This has definitely been... sitting around for a while. Okay, so it looks like these are all sitting normally. So that means what does that mean? We gotta flip them. We gotta flip them. At least these two. These are going to be wider keys, right? And this is still going to be a 1U. I'm trying to visualize how that would be. So this one's definitely got to flip. And see, that one would normally be that way. So would it be like that? That feels like that would be centered to me. We will find out. And then in between these two, that is centered, I think. We'll find out. Put this one back all together. Bye-bye, Envoy. Alrighty, we'll see if my switch position guessing was correct. Alright, don't need you. I'll hold on to you in case I guessed wrong. And we got our case. So, let's double check on where the pins are for the JST. I believe it will go like this. Don't want any bent pins, which thankfully I have not had to deal with as of yet. And I believe we go front in first. And it should just nestle into our little buddies. But it's not nestling quite on the top ones. I don't think those ones were pushed in far enough into the case. Seemed like, at least. Let's give that a try. There we go. I think we're sitting pretty now. All right, so let's get our securing screws put in. These are chunky boys. There we go. And we won't go too tight with these since that seemed to be kind of a sound killer. So maybe tighten it and then back off a little bit. Because really their only job is to keep the assembly from falling out if you turn the board over. Why is this one not? There we go. So I think if we loosen it up, I mean, that's not going to come out. So maybe just keep it a little loose. That's not, I want to keep some of that flexibility. I don't want to tamp it down too much. All right, keycap time. It's feeling good so far. Those oranges do look really good together. Let's see how the angle looks over here. I love this orange and the blue together. We do need to make a Web Awesome board, I think. Beautiful. There you go. Just making sure nothing important was happening on my phone. All right. What do you got for us, Keycobo? Go back to the desk for this one. Make sure all the little pins are up. There we go. Yeah, I like this. This gray is a little darker than the stone color, but I like it. And it also like comes with this darker gray as well. Whoops, wrong way. That's not going to focus, is it? There's too much interesting stuff happening on my desk. There we go. So like that is a really nice touch with that too. Both are a nice shade. So let's think. What do we want to do with the bottom row? Because we both have orange accents and this darker gray. I'm thinking we might want to lean into the orange. So like orange escape, orange enter. That is a much redder orange though. But you're really not going to see it too much all at once. But I think it's going to look nice. Well, that does sounding a little hollow to me. Might need to steal some foam from my other build. I'm actually curious if there is foam in that other one. Because at least with just the enter, I'm not loving that sound. Let's see. Let's see what we got inside this one. So this screw is between tab and Q. And the 1. So let's see. Come on out, buddy. We just gotta lift. Ah, this does have some foam under it. So let's do this. Yeah, this build had both PE and plate foam on it. Let's steal the case foam for now. And come back to this if I end up wanting to change too much else about it. We will just put you over here for now. Okay. So I think I'm going to want some... Just sounds really thin to me, as is. So I think I do want some dampening. May end up coming back to this and adding more foam. But we'll see. So we will lift out, disconnect, because it has to go around the cable. Not the most robust foam, but I think it may help. I think that's right. Yeah, it is. Good. I know we're listening to other stuff right now, but I've, in the back of my head, have just been songs from K-pop Demon Hunters playing in my brain. They're so catchy. That's better already. I know it's just the one key, and the space bar is usually a little more telling, but that feels better to me already. Just having a little bit of dampening on the bottom. All right, let's not get too tight with that. Let's see how... Oh, I need a longer space bar. Ooh, I like that. Get a little bit of ticking on the left, but we can tune that. I like it. All right, let's look at the bottom row. So we've got a few of these buddies that might fit the bill. We've also got our macro column over here. What does Mr. Neflock recommend in some of his photos? Okay, I like it. see, are these the same profile? These are the same profile. Almost looked like page up and page down to me. But I think we'll do this guy here. I do like doing the dark arrows. The arrows sound a little bit muted down there. Wonder if that would change at all with this screw. A little even more muted. What if I loosen it way up? Woo, even worse. Let's tighten that up. That's not bad. Right in there. Yeah, there's a fine line in there between deadening it by keeping it secure with that gasket. For some reason, it does have that effect a little bit, at least for me. Let's see. Which shift are we looking at here? Left shift. And I think what we'll do... Trying to get my phone to cooperate. I think what we'll do is a little of that. And then that might be too close actually, huh? Oh, that's good. And then maybe we'll keep these two as your more run-of-the-mill type stuff. And Control Alt. And these little buddies will not get used this time. Sorry, buddies. And let's do, those are all row 1. Let's do, that's a row 2 option. And 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then I think it's spiral or square. Let's do spiral. I'm an Alan Wake fan. Let's do spiral. Do the orange accent. And our stepped caps. Actually, a little itty bitty shift might be on this side. Nope, not that one. Am I blind? Can I just not see where the shift is? This one's too small. Where's the shift that goes in that spot? Oh, it's right here. It was hiding. There we go. Now we can get rocking with the others. Get all our numbers in. These alphas are sounding a little dead to me. I say alphas when I mean the numbers. Maybe I need to go in and take that foam back out as things fill up. Or maybe I should have gone with the FR4 plate all along. We'll find out. Also, props to Keycaps for putting the barred versions of F and J on top and not the scoops. Because scoops are not the way. I'm not going to yuck your yum if you're a scoop fan. But for me, no. No thank you. Yeah, the alphas in the middle are sounding really good. The upper row is a little dead for me. So maybe we'll experiment with, whoops, cap down. The trick is to not roll over it with my chair and crush it. Success. All right. Let's get a better look at this. So there it is. I really love these colors together though. Like the oranges are different, but not different enough to be off-putting, I don't think. The Alexotos edition mode Envoy. So the sound I'm not 100% with though. Here, I'll point the mic at it and see what you think. Like I like the alphas. The number row is a little flat. That could be due to the lattice blocks though. It might be worth, you know what, actually, if we change to the stiffer blocks and we wouldn't even have to use all of them. We could take out the one in the middle. Then that might cut down on the absorption of the top. Maybe some of the arrow absorption too. Oh, hey, Beast Mode. You want these caps? I really like them. Like just the looking at them, it's just kind of like vibration in your eyes. I feel like the colors together, the like the saturation levels between this gray and this orange are very close, and so it's just kind of going like bzzz a little bit. I'm glad I actually got to look at them in person finally, because it is kind of hard to capture this in like pictures online. But I also really like how they're going with the stone case for this. Almost went with Kaiju, which I think would still be a good match, and I'll probably play around with that at some point. But I'm liking this. So let's try swapping those lattice blocks. That might improve the sound of the number wave. You're making your way to GR in August. That's awesome. For anything in particular, or just like hanging out? If you need any recommendations, let me know. If you don't have anything in particular that you're looking for. So let's pop this open again and re-examine the lattice block situation with the little bit of time we have left. I do have a hard stop around 8:30 so that I can help put my kid to bed. All right, there we go. So yeah, the combination of the foam and the lattice blocks might have been partly to blame for the sound. Friend is going to beer codes. I'm tagging along, but I don't plan to spend too much time at that. I want to hit the breweries. Good plan. Ew. A little dust in there. Founders is always a decent bet. Speciation. Highly recommend Speciation if you enjoy like ciders and sours. They also have wine that's pretty decent. Brewery Vivant. Or I guess now they've changed their name to Vivant Brewery and Spirits. Highly recommend. Harmony Brewing. If you're willing to take more of a hike and are interested in more of a distillery situation, you should go to Eastern Kill. It's technically in Rockford, but they also have a tasting room in Grand Rapids. It's more of just like a bar situation. Perrin. But the distillery in Rockford also has really good pizza, if that's your jam. All right, lattice blocks. Let's see if I can pry these out with my hand. Ugh. I did really wedge them in there. For sure. So maybe I'll try the harder blocks and I'll try without these two to start. And then if it's too soft or I'm bottoming out or something, I'll put them back in. Although the bottom foam should hopefully help resist any bottoming out. Oh yeah, go for it. DM me. Happy to recommend stuff. I've put together a couple lists in Apple Maps before of stuff, but I've also put together a couple written lists of recommendations because I want to try to convince my coworkers to come to Grand Rapids for a get-together sometime. And so trying to do some of that. But yeah, feel free to DM me. And I will type back when the stream's over. Thanks for stopping by, Tim. I really appreciate it. I know it must be late. You're what, 5 hours ahead? 4 hours ahead? Yeah, you should probably go sleep, dude. But I really appreciate you being here. 2 a.m. Goodness sakes. Yeah, go rest. I'm hoping to make this weekly, so I'll be around for sure. We'll have more interesting builds coming up. Well, these wedge in a little bit more easily, but they're also less flexible, so that makes sense. They're not going to deform as much. Yep, that's easy. Easy enough. So without attaching the JST, let's just see how the sound is. Oh yeah, the numbers are already more lively without having those. Ooh, I do still need to tune that. Gotta tune that stab a little bit. We are rattling a fair amount, but I might actually re-lube that one, because that was what I did first, and I was having a bit of trouble with the housing. The nice thing about, well, one of the nice things about the way that Mode puts their boards together is that you can remove stabilizers very easily without having to take the entire board apart. Another aspect of their design choices that I really appreciate. So we can easily get this out of here. If I can get the angle right. Come on, buddy. There we go. And retune it. Could inject some lube in there, but I think I messed up the dielectric grease portion a little bit. So I think what we'll do is clean that off and reapply, because I'm pretty sure I didn't get enough around the wire curve the first time. Which you think you'd be able to do in something that you dip into an entire bottle worth of goop. All right, let's get the dielectric grease back out. Maybe I'll double check this housing too to make sure that I think the housings themselves were good, but I guess we'll see for sure. That's probably more like it. Whoop, don't come out. Don't fall out of the house. Cut down on some of that wire rattle, if that was indeed the culprit. All right. Give this a go, another quick sound check. And then I will need to peace out for the night. Got our assembly back. This one's also a bit of a problem child because it is almost running into the hot swap socket on the underside, which is a wild thing to have happen. I feel like it's not wanting to sit entirely flush, which could also affect the sound, I imagine. So if that persists, I may revisit this with some different stabilizers. Let's see if that will help. Or maybe try a 6.25U instead of the 7. Because then we would be in this hole instead of this one that is in almost direct conflict with a hot swap socket. Let's give this a little try before we button it up. Got it. Rattle is gone. When in doubt, add more goop. When I say that, now it's started just rattling a little bit again. A minor tick. Well, that's something I can revisit on my own. Might need to do a little bit of housing work on that one. You know what? Let's do it now. Got a few minutes. Got a little syringe. Put on the nozzle. And put a little bit let's make sure we got action here before I oh, there we go. I'll start with that. See how it does for us. Give it a little bit of manual work. Sounding better? All right. Reconnect this for real now. Reinsert. Make sure we're where we're supposed to be. Yeah, that sounded better. Sounding better to me. Well, that sound real good. Put back in our securing screws and then loosen a little bit to help the sound. Numbers are still not 100%, but they're definitely better than they were. But that's something I may need to tinker with a little bit more. I mean, that's looking pretty good. Do you see what I'm saying about that sound difference? It's a little bit wild how much more muted that top row is. Maybe I need to play around a little bit more with the lattice blocks. But I do dig that. So there you have it. There is the Alexotos edition mode Envoy with his own switches, the 58-gram Obscuras inside. Maybe I'll do some playing around with the switch as well and see if that might alter the sound signature favorably. But another fun addition to the collection. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to be back next week. Wow, I am shiny. Holy cow. It did get pretty warm in here, but I didn't know that was that much. Oh, thanks for being here, man. I will DM you back with some of those recs. And hope to be back next Tuesday with another build. We'll see what we got on the docket. Maybe end up tweaking this one a little bit more, but we'll see. But I am liking the way this is sounding so far. But thanks so much for being here, and